Hello, bright and shiny beacons of light, everybody in Facebook land and YouTube land. Welcome to what is our 5th Facebook Live and our first YouTube Live. Woohoo! This is an experiment, a little bit of an experiment tonight. I'll get slowed down here. I'm a little excited. I'm not actually looking at the computer. I'm looking at the Samsung equivalent of an iPad on its side, which is broadcasting one camera, and then there is a second Logitech camera on top of what's the equivalent of an iPad, which is broadcasting on the other one. All of this is on top of, I don't know, maybe looks to be approximately 12 books, including Living in a Mindful Universe by Evan Alexander, Meditation for Fidgety Skeptics by Dan Harris, Sears Wellness Plan, Collected Letters of Alan Watts, Brian Tracy, Believe It to Achieve It, and The Puppy, the Pen, and the Chew Toy, among others. So, I see your questions are already starting to come in on YouTube. Woohoo! Hi, Kaken and Bashar and Anthony and Lee. This is so cool, and all the questions are starting to run in. I love it. Jessica, hey, The Forge, you are like one of our biggest all-time fans. We send you all our love. So Jessica is going to be running the show. She'll be speaking as well, giving me some of the questions.
Why don't you start with some of the questions that you see there, because I'm...
Okay, well, if I start at the top, Anthony asks, what do you know about energy medicine? And there are so it's a brilliant question, Anthony. There are so many different types of energy medicine, and I'm reaching down for my pendant, which I guess is off because I just took a bath, because I do wear an energy healing pendant on me from Richard. Well, now that I'm on the spot, Richard's last name?
Gordon.
From Richard Gordon. He's one of the energy healers who we've had on the show, who we believe in his work tremendously, and he has these charged pendants, and I typically always wear it on my heart, and I'm tapping on it frequently, which I feel gives me energy and helps me when I'm doing work with other people as well. There's just so many types of energy healing. The ones that I'm most familiar with, meaning that I use the most, are energy clearing ones, such as EFT tapping and the emotion code, something that I see there are a few questions that have come up as well. There's so many different hands-on modalities as well. I think there's validity to pretty much all of them across the board. I know after my first NDE, I was thinking about this earlier today while talking with a coaching client about acupuncture, which you might not even think of as energy medicine, but it's all about moving chi. And after my first NDE, I had, I don't know, there was a count they had given me of well over 100 needles to get the body to basically jumpstart the body again and get it wired and going again. I think as important as which modality you choose is the healer. I think the healer is really a conduit. Jessica is in her own right an energy healer. She doesn't work with humans typically, although she does work with me, but she works with pets. And she passes healing energy through her hands, and her hands get mighty hot. And it's fascinating to watch and see the pets gravitate to her, and like if they're sore on the side, go whoop, and put their side right into her when she does the healing work. A great question, Anthony, and feel free to ask follow-ups on that. Okay, let's see who we have. I know that there's some. Yes, The Forge. Quantum Touch is Richard. Thank you so much. Jessica, can you recall the gentleman from Long Island who we had on as well? Bill Bankston is another one who we just found absolutely off the charts amazing, both for his energy healing work and his technique of cycling images in his mind to help him reach, if I understand this right, he was getting into a theta state at the same time he's getting into a very high state of consciousness, which isn't typically on the vibrational chart for the brain, and now I'm spacing it. I want to say it begins with a Q, but it might not. But he has ability to reach different brainwave states at the same time while he's getting in this meditative zone for working with energy healing, which is quite impressive. Selvin from Malaysia, hi from Diana from New Orleans. Pets are angels on earth. You are absolutely so correct. In fact, we just had on yesterday, well, I guess she's today's interview, Cheryl Richardson, and a beautiful, beautiful interview. And we were talking about her cat, Poupon, who had passed on. And the interview, we had to wrap it up a little bit early. She had another interview coming up too quickly. And her cat had just passed away in November. And I have to believe that her cat had just completed his duty of bringing her where she needed to be before he left. And he might come back. We've seen this happen. But he was here to help her get to a certain place in his life. And so he truly was an angel on earth for her. So let's see what more questions. The questions have gone blank off of my screen, Jessica, so maybe you have one.
Sure. Whoops. Bashar writes, "Hello, I think you have really awesome videos. I guess my question is, do you believe in ESP?"
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt. In fact, a guest that we're going to have back on the show coming up, Dean Radin, he is the head of the Center for Noetic Sciences, which was founded by Edgar Mitchell, a former NASA astronaut. And they actually do scientific experiments on ESP, something that has been tested more than most mainstream scientific techniques have been tested, all the way back to, it's either the 20s or the 30s. Colleges around the country, colleges and esteemed universities, have tested and found statistical validity for ESP. I see it with Jessica all the time, where I can just look at her and she'll all of a sudden blurt out exactly what I'm saying. We've all had the experience of going to pick up the phone and it starts ringing and we know who's on the end, or we were about to call them. And we've all had times where we've completed someone else's sentence and they go, "How'd you know that?" And you go, "I just did." It's really a matter of figuring out how we can tune into it and how we use it. Something that I really want to figure out with Jessica, because in a relationship, there is ESP. First off, if you have pets, they're doing this ESP all the time. They've got it going on. But there's ESP going on with you in a relationship with anyone, and particularly with your significant loved one, which is why I believe there are so many arguments sometimes. You don't actually hear the exact words, but you can sense when they're anxious, when they're upset, whatever's going on, and you can get, because of this ESP, because there's cross communication that we're not conscious with, or we're not familiar with on a conscious level, you can get in kind of an emotional feedback loop in your partner, because you're reading each other and hearing each other without knowing it. And so they haven't had a chance to get upset to your comment. You're feeling you're feeling something because you think they're going to feel something, and it goes back and forth and back and forth. Not so much with the thinking mind, but what's going on in here. So I think the more we can understand what's going on, the more it both helps prevent communications, and like the Aborigines who could transmit messages for mile after mile, we'd be able to hear our partner and hear important calls and commands more clearly. The last note that I would give on this is every mother has had the experience of saying, "I need to call the school right now. I need to go right now. My son needs me. My daughter needs me." When their son or daughter was injured, there hadn't been a call yet, but they absolutely knew in their bones something was out. They had gotten the call on kind of the higher level intranet, so to speak. Great question.
Our next question is from Keegan, who writes, "Hi, Michael and Jessica. How is the emotional body code working out for you both? I'm thinking about using it. Seems legit."
Oh my God. Great question. I'm going to go with Kaken. And please let us know what's the correct pronunciation of your voice. Emotion code is a technique that we use on a daily basis, day in, day out. I use it with the majority of my coaching clients. I use it with Jessica all the time. And since the beginning of the new year, I think today's the first day in a while that I've missed working on it with myself. We all have emotional blocks and wounds and traumas, or what are called heart walls. Things that prevent us from seeing clearly, from feeling clearly, from things that cause us to have emotional patterns or blocks or literally shoot ourselves in the foot. Or we all have things that cause us to tripwire, where we have an emotional response that far outweighs. It's a scale. You have something, you get angry, for instance, at something somebody said that should have been anger on a level 1, but you get a level 10 for some reason because it hit an emotional wound, an emotional trauma. And emotion code helps you to clear these wounds or traumas. And I believe, I don't know if we can get fully clear because it's like layers of an onion, but we have, if we've lived any time on this planet, we have hundreds of emotional wounds. We have wounds going back almost to our birth. The more we clear those wounds, the lighter we feel, the more we can act from our heart rather than from our nervous system, the kinder, the more compassionate we are. And Jessica and I were in baby planning mode. The less of that stuff you will quite literally pass on to your kids. They've done experiments with mice, and I hate talking about animal experiments just because I don't like to see the animals suffer or tortured or used in this way. But I believe it was in the 50s, they did experiments with mice, and they would shock the mice if they go past like a certain line in a maze. And so they shocked these mice. The mice wouldn't go past these lines anymore. And then those mice were taken out of the maze. They bred, then they bred, then they bred. 4 generations later, I think it's grandkids go into this maze. Their parents haven't been in it, their grandparents haven't been in it, their great-grandparents haven't been in it. And they go to the line where they get shocked and they stop cold. We carry these messages and emotional wounds with us to protect us. So when we clear these things, we're able to step forward past the lines, and we're clearing stuff that we have and that we've inherited and that we can pass on to our kids as well. I cannot recommend emotion code enough. It is my #1 go-to tool after automatic writing, and for energy healing, it is my #1 tool.
A follow-up question to that is, have you experienced a lot of access consciousness?
That's a great question. I haven't had bars run on me. The question is, have I experienced much access consciousness? I haven't had what they call running bars. I haven't been to any events. I've only had Gary Douglas and Dane here on the show, and another brilliant woman talking about money as well from access consciousness. So I can't speak of it outside of the interview arena and the books that I read. I find their books brilliant. I find Gary Douglas in your face amazing in his talks on money. And Dane Heer's work is something that I use every day. His phrase, how does it get any better than this? And putting that when something's going negative, when something's being positive, I'll put negative in quotes there. No matter what happens, saying, how does it get any better than this? I think helps shift the energy and transform the experience. They both use a technique where you basically disintegrate things and rebuild them from scratch, which allows for new results and helps you to leave baggage behind and step forward. I consider absolutely off the top brilliant as well. And I love Dane Heer's perspective of questioning everything, not just questioning what's reality, but questioning your thoughts and questioning your thoughts that are questioning your thoughts, so that you can get out of paradigms. You can free yourself from the judgments you make, not just about everybody else around you, but the judgments you make about yourself as well.
Let's jump to a question from Facebook.
Okay, great.
Megan writes, is Jessica still going to do her Inspire Nation Baby Conscious Conception? If so, where can I find it? Yes, I do still plan on doing it, but since I went down and I was feeling ill over the last...
I'll fill in briefly.
Okay, go ahead.
When we started the show, we had moved from Maui, where we had lived for many years, and she had gotten sick with mold toxicity poisoning. We had moved back to her childhood home in New Jersey so she could heal from that. We got her to what we thought was 100%. We moved to Emerald Isle, North Carolina, a different home than we're in now, though we're still on Emerald Isle till we moved to Aspen in April. And the home that we were in had something. and she got sick again. She had just started recording, and it was so brilliant to see her on the mic, to see her doing the prep work. And we had gotten, I think, 2 or 3 shows under her belt. Dr. Carolyn Dean, PMH Atwater was canceled. We had gotten several brilliant interviews, and then she went down, and it was so sad to see her exhausted and struggling again. And I'm so thankful we're out of that home, but she is still on the mends. On low humidity days, she is off the charts, amazing. I can't touch her. Maybe I can on the bicycle. I can't running. She, I think, is now faster than me swimming, and she's skating faster than me as well. But those are on the good days. And on the humid weather days, she's still going down. So that's a big reason that we're moving to Colorado in April, is to get her to a drier climate. So take it from there.
And I would say it's a hard project to work on when your life's on hold in that area. Like.
So in other words, what she means is we don't want to conceive, or me as Papa at least wants to wait on conceiving until she has 100% health, so we don't pass that burden on to the child. I'd say we both agree on that.
Yeah. And so I have a mental block when it comes to working on the project.
Well, it's sad.
Yes. It's sad.
It twists the gut. When you're working on something having to do with conception, and you're having to wait, your life's on hold, and you're very excited to get started in this project.
Yeah. And not to mention, I do have a ton of other work too.
This has been launching a rocket in ways we didn't expect this fall and winter. I think beautiful ways. Starting these lives, for instance, something that Jessica runs. So many different projects. The automatic writing program, which we'll have out in just a few weeks, which I'm so excited about. That's one of her projects. And those are to give us liftoff, in part to help you, our audience, but also to give us liftoff for Aspen. And so this has been, I would say, our busiest time period ever.
It has. In a good way.
Yeah. Oh, there's no complaints at all. It's very energizing, and I'm back up successfully. This house is doing great for us. I'm back up around 3:30 each morning to get going, and that's going to be another program we're going to have in the future, is on helping people build a morning routine. No, it doesn't need to be a 3:30 in the morning routine, but I'm excited to get the day going because there's so much great stuff I'm doing with the show. I want to get a jump on it.
All right, so our next question is, let me scroll here, from, oh my goodness, I have to scroll back quite a bit.
Okay. So keep those questions coming. This is brilliant. There are so many questions on both Facebook and YouTube here.
Okay, Vanna Rose asks, do you believe we are living in a quantum multi-universe?
Hi, Vanna Rose. Absolutely, positively. There's no other way to look at it. We are living in a, as you call it, a quantum multi-universe. We are one radio station on the dial. And some people are lucky enough to, I don't even know if lucky is a word, are gifted to be able to peer into multi-universes. However, there are others who are gifted into peering into too many at once and have a hard time staying just in this one universe. And we often label them with different psychiatric conditions. But we are absolutely positively, as far as I'm concerned, living in a multi-universe. We have as many universes in every direction as you can possibly imagine. It is truly not just an infinite universe, but an infinite world with infinite possibilities in all directions. I think when we're in this body, it's hard to see that for a good reason. We can only focus on this right in front of us. If we even took in the totality just of what we hear, smell, sense, sound, touch, taste in our rooms, we would be completely and totally overwhelmed, let alone if we were able to perceive multiple universes. But as someone who's had 2 NDEs, and I didn't get the tunnel, I didn't get all the pyrotechnics, but I did get to go down that rabbit hole a little bit. It's, for me, and I can only speak for me, It's not a belief. It's an absolutely total and complete knowing. A brilliant question. Thank you. Is it Vanna?
Vanna Rose.
Thank you, Vanna Rose.
Okay, our next question from a YouTube watcher, Lavi, who writes, "Hi, Michael. How can we have our own guidance and get the answers we need in order to improve our lives?"
Brilliant question, Lavi. My number one tool and technique is automatic writing for this. How to get past the mind, what I call all the voices in the mind, I call KEGO. It's all those voices going on, to drop down to your heart, KHRT radio. It's a process where you get up in the morning when things are nice and quiet. You say some prayers. You meditate first, you say some prayers, and then you let the pen flow or let your fingers tap along on the keyboard. And you start over time. You're making a handshake in the beginning, but over time, the words start to flow and you get divine guidance from the inside. There are many other tools and techniques that can do this, and one of the most important considerations is quieting the mind. So that could be going hiking to a spacious location, sitting on a mountaintop, sitting on a rock on a hillside, laying in the snow someplace after the snow's fallen on a pristine morning. All of these quieting techniques can help, but I believe putting pen to paper and allowing the words to come out does something extra special. Using a technique like automatic writing, as you build these skills, you're able to hear it more clearly all the time. For instance, the voices that I hear when things are writing out, it's here with me now, although it's even clearer when it's a little bit more of a relaxed environment. It's with me in all of my interviews. That's where my questions are coming from, is I go quiet and I hear, and it's happening in all of my coaching sessions as well. It's the same ability. We all have this ability. Some have more of it than others. They've cultivated it, and just like, there's only so many Michael Jordans in basketball, I guess dating myself there, you can get really good with practice. Some might get better than others. But the more you practice, the more you're able to take that wisdom and those voices that you're hearing, that inner voice that you're hearing there, and carry that through to hear it with you any time of the day. So a brilliant question, and it's something that I recommend you dive into. Start to listen, start to go quiet more, and put pen to paper and ask.
Let's go to Facebook. Our next question is from Lucy. She asks, "What is your personal practice to access your intuition? P.S. Thank you for helping me last week regarding grief."
Woohoo! Hi, Lucy. So glad I was able to help. My personal practice, first and foremost, is automatic writing. So what I do is I get up first thing in the morning, and I say some gratitude prayers. I do some woohoos in my head to kind of supercharge me. I don't say them out loud because I'm getting up typically earlier than Jessica. I crawl upstairs to my studio. In the back of my studio, I have a computer that's holed up in the dark behind a green screen. And I sit and meditate for about 5 or 10 minutes. Then I put on my headphones and put on some binaural music that I made that helps take me into a theta brainwave state. And it's got some beats going to it, and it's got some ohms being chanted in the background. And then I turn my computer on and put it to set flux on it so that it has a dark screen. I set it to this thing called darkroom mode. And then I say a prayer, and the prayer could be to God, Source, Universe. In my case, I say a prayer to God, asking for love and guidance. And then I ask archangels and guides and light workers and anybody who's here for my highest good and the highest good of all to help give me wisdom for the day. And then I start typing, eyes closed, not thinking, listening to the boop, 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 om, boop, 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 om, and I just start writing. And the words start to come to me. And then if the words may stop, I may say, what do I need to know for today? What's most important for today? Can you tell me what's going on with Jessica? Can you tell me what I need to know for the show? And I start putting these questions out there. But more frequently than not, I'm getting guidance that I didn't even realize I needed for the day, for the weeks ahead. Or it may be that, Michael, you don't realize that Jessica needs some extra love today. Can you give her some extra kindness and love? Or it may be that they're saying, you know, Michael, you've had a very busy week. I know that you've got 2 days left of this huge push. Instead of focusing on the work that gets to get done, can you focus on taking even better care of yourself? And so I'll get these words of wisdom, and it's great if I even come back to it midday, come back to it and read it later in the day as well. That's an area I get to improve upon myself. But if there is a challenging experience, a conundrum, I will run back over to that computer. I keep it separate from my work computer. And I'll go right to automatic writing, and I'll say, what's going on here? What do I need to learn from this experience? I write my books there, and so I'll ask for assistance from guides or from authors who have passed on and said, what words would you like to give me today so that I can help to share with the world? So that's my number one go-to technique, bar none. We've made and I'm willing to talk more about it fully, openly. I want to share this with the world. I think it's teaching you how to be your own Neil Donald Walsh and have your own conversations with God. I put that in quotes, so to speak. But we've made a 30-plus video series that'll be out in just a couple weeks that'll walk you through it step by step and answer every one of your questions that you may have, because every one of us should be able to get this divine guidance, and it is beyond a game changer. The show wouldn't take place without it. The interviews wouldn't take place. The coaching wouldn't take place. And our ability, both Jessica and I, to make better heart-centered decision on a moment-by-moment basis and to see the totality of our lives has all come out of the automatic experience. We've made some beautiful decisions in our lives, and we've made some really suspect decisions in our lives, particularly when we put our nose to the grindstone and we won't look up or come up for air. By doing a process of each morning tapping into our intuition and asking what we need to know, it helps keep us from having those blinders on and going forward blindly ahead, where we're not paying attention to the big picture and we don't realize we're heading right toward the railroad trains on the railroad track. Tapping into your intuition on a daily basis is incredibly important and completely changes your life.
This next question is related to automatic writing. Barbara asks, do you get one word at a time or a whole sentence?
Oh no, I have conversations. It's not like a Ouija board, Barbara, at least in our situation. In fact, everyone I've coached, there's only a handful of people who get more like snippets, more like packages, rather than complete sentences. In the beginning, it starts off with fewer words. You kind of make a handshake right away, or as I like to call it, you're starting to learn to get the airplane in the air. You get a few words, you come back down. You get a few more, you come back down. But you keep working on it and the sentences start to flow, and I'll have full-on conversations. And oftentimes the words will come to me and I'll go, no, that can't be right. And I'll go, is this my ego talking? And I'll write out, is this my ego talking? And I'll hear, no, it's not your ego, and here's why it's not your ego. And I'll go, oh yeah, I get it. So no, it'll be full-blown conversations over time. Initially, it came into me more poetic, I guess you could say. Not the first few weeks, but after that, it came in more grandiose. And now it's like just two people kicking back, having a discussion. I may get some more dear ones or loved ones in there. And I understand that it's them and it's not me, whatever them means. But it's full-on conversations, and it truly guides my life.
Our next question is from Bashar, who asks, the Akashic records are the wisdom and knowledge of everything stored in your memory. Do you think we really can access these records somehow? Super consciousness?
Great question, Bashar. And actually, it ties. It seems to be an automatic writing discussion. Years ago, Jessica and I attended a Akashic record retreat. I guess it would be the right word for it. A multi-day retreat where we learned how to access the Akashic records. Something that I actually haven't done since, and you're going to challenge me to get back into it because the technique is still there. It's very similar to automatic writing. It's extremely powerful. What's in there is absolutely amazing, and the best example I can give, and when I first got into it, the words were so profound that I didn't actually believe them. I thought it was my ego stealing hijacking the experience, because on the final day of the retreat, we had to read what we wrote, and which I think reading it in private and reading it with a guide or mentor, if they have your permission, that's fine, or a coach, if they have your permission, that's fine. But reading it to a whole group had a whole nother level of complexity. And what was said about me was so grandiose and over the top that I thought it must be my ego stealing the ship. This could not be from the Akashic Records. What I know since then is actually some of what they've said has already come true. So they were absolutely spot on, but I didn't want to dive into the Akashic Records again or automatic writing because it's a very similar experience. For years, I was so upset and in a very real way traumatized by the experience. With that said, let's fast forward. One of the guests I interviewed, Larry Brilliant, he was I believe he was a doctor at the time. He was in India. He was studying with a guru who sent him to go see a palm reader. The palm reader said, wait a minute, and looked at his palm and said, wait a minute, and grabbed a book, which was apparently from the Akashic Records, or helps him read access the Akashic Records, and says, you're going to go on to do this, you're going to go on to do that, and you're going to bring the whole world together to end smallpox. And you are going to eradicate smallpox in the world. And Larry's like, no, I'm not going to do, you're saying what? And he kind of filed that away. He eradicated smallpox. He single-handedly spearheaded the campaign that has saved millions, if not a billion, children's lives, after more than a billion had died in the past from smallpox. So Akashic Records is... it's everything, and I think if we can access that, and I'm so glad you brought it up, Bashar, because I'm going to challenge myself to do that some more in the future, can be incredibly empowering, illuminating, and dare I say, humbling to say the least. So thank you, Bashar.
Okay, there are a couple more questions related to this topic. Mm-hmm. I'll ask one now, and then I'll jump back to Facebook.
Okay, and I want to make just one quick comment. Something
Sure.
popped up on here, and I think it was a Janice who said, I didn't catch this from the beginning. Will I be able to go in and listen to it afterwards? As far as we understand, both on our Facebook Inspire Nation Show page and on YouTube Inspire Nation Show, afterwards a recording will be available. First time doing this on YouTube, we believe that's how it works. But if not, we know you can go to Facebook and go to Inspire Nation Show. And once you, become a fan, like it, I think is what it is, you have access to that video as well. So go ahead.
Well, this is a question from Janice, too. And she asks, does what you're saying translate to visual art, too, or do you recommend still writing?
Oh, great. Brilliant question, Janice. I think there's a time and a place for everything, and some people think better visually than they do in words. I've worked with a lot of coaching clients on the visual side on, I guess we wouldn't call it automatic writing, but it's I don't know if you want to call it channeling or not, but it's going into that sacred place, that sacred zone, and having images, having art come out, having visual imagery coming up, geographic images, beautiful paintings and stuff coming up. I think it's brilliant. It's beyond brilliant. It is what life is about. Creativity is life. And creativity is all coming from the divine. It's being plugged into source. It depends on what you're going for. If you're looking for healing, let's go to the creativity. If you're going for inspiration, let's go to the creativity. If it is your life passion, let's go to the creativity. But if you're looking for guidance and direction, then rather than going to the potter's wheel, for example, I think we need to go to the Word. Now, Jessica and I are pretty experienced meditators. I've been meditating for over 20 years, and I can't say I have the best practice out there. It's a practice. It's continuously learning, evolving, growing as I am I. No matter how much time I've spent in meditation, no matter how many, there was like a 6-month period on Maui where I was holding space at this meditation center for like 4 hours a day daily. No matter how much time I sit in the silence and in the bliss, no matter how great the meditations, I personally have not gotten a booming voice saying, "Thou shalt do this, Michael, and here's how to do it." I believe the majority of people, and we've even met people who have meditated in the equivalent of caves for years, also don't get these booming voices. Though they have the most incredible, profound experiences, they probably wouldn't share with you because you don't have I wouldn't have the comprehension to understand it until I've gone that far down the rabbit hole. But still not those words of guidance and wisdom. That's what you can access in the written word through your automatic writing. So we basically have the equivalent of God, source, spirit, universe, cheeseburger in the sky, inner wisdom, inner guidance, higher self, higher team, whatever you want to call it. We have that as co-pilot on a daily basis, helping guide us, helping challenge us, call us on our BS, and help us get on the good path. And for our highest good and the highest good of all, and I always throw in there, or something better. And that comes out of putting that pen to paper.
Okay, let's go to Coco on Facebook.
Hi, Coco!
She writes, I have a question about what to do when you're multi-passionate and have many projects you want to start. Sounds familiar.
It's a good challenge to have, Coco. What do you do when you're multi-passionate and you have many projects to start?
How do you choose?
First off, for me personally, I would go into automatic writing, start asking questions in there. On top of that, I would come up with a mission statement. Who am I? What am I here for? You can do that in automatic writing, and then you can work to hone that on your own. When you have a clear mission statement, it helps give you a clear indication of what project to do when. Then I come up with, and this is going to be our next project down the road after we finish automatic writing, we're going to have a project for doing this, for teaching people how to come up with your purpose, path, and direction and be able to choose which project. After this, I go to my Woohoo 8s. And the Woohoo 8s are writing down on a daily basis in 8 different categories what are the top things that I want to get done or want to achieve, not so much as achievements, but what I want to see and feel and do in this year and in this lifetime. By writing that down on a daily basis, by writing my mission statement on a daily basis, things start to become clearer. Things I don't want to do become clearer. Things I do want to do become clearer. Then from there, it is simply a matter of figuring out which I am most on fire for now. Now, today, in this moment. And that's the direction that we would go. For instance, automatic writing. We've been working on a book for that for several years now. We've just completed another draft with an editor. And it's been a long process. Day before New Year's, we're talking with each other, Jessica and I, and we're talking about what projects we want to get done in the new year. And we said, well, we want to get an automatic writing program online. And I said, well, what's it going to take? And Jessica says, well, about a weekend of time. And I'm like, well, we've got 2 days before we take a flight. How about now? I think she may have even said, how about now? And 2 days later, we had everything filmed. We went with the inspiration. We went with that energy. So pay careful attention to that. Now I'm going to give you the lawyer's notes. The notes that they say at the end of a car advertisement, animal rate 14.9%, be sure to check the small print, blah, 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 which is artistic type does not mean that you have to be a starving artist. If you have many projects to do at once, look at which one may be an investor in your future, and if you're passionate and your heart is there to help yourself and to help others. Because if something's just about the money, then run away from it. It's not going to work for you. But if something is about your passion and it's going to help feed you, put the food on the table, put the roof over your head, help you to do the other projects, go there first. Don't walk but run. This is a mistake, in quotes, This is a learning that Jessica and I had to learn the hard way several times over, which was we went for projects without asking, how will this help fuel us financially? How will this help keep us going? And how will it allow us to do some of the other projects that we want to do? Life really is a two-step dance. You get passion and inspiration from the universe. You get to step forward into that passion. But you have to do it not just from heart, but asking, what is going to fuel me? What is going to keep that food on the table? We are here in physical body, spirit in a physical existence, which means we get to navigate this world as well. But we were never meant to be starving artists. I know it's a term I'm bringing up now, but it drives me nuts. It came from, I think, from La Boheme from the 30s, I believe. We were meant to be truly prosperous. And the more creative we are, the more prosperous I believe we are meant to be. We are all meant to live exceptional lives. So when the creativity strikes, ask yourself for now, which is going to give me the energy and the fuel, the monetary energy to do many more projects in the future, and then consider going there first and going there fast. Although, breathe deep, ask questions, follow that inspiration, but you don't have to rush as well. There's a balance in the yin and yang in that process too. Beautiful question, Coco, and thank you so much for joining us here tonight.
Our next question is from Kim R.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just scroll back. She writes, I was told my emotional body is almost absent and my heart energy is very low. Do you have any tips on getting in touch with my emotions and building heart energy?
We need to get you back in your body. What name again?
Kim.
Hi, Kim. We need to get you grounded. We need to get you plugged back in. Certainly you can do emotion code work, but we can actually start with the basics. As weird and silly as it sounds, I wonder if you've got enough going on in the exercise department, because I want to get you grounded and connected and plugged into your body. That way, all of your fields can connect, so to speak. If your emotional field isn't showing here, it may be radically shut down. Things like emotion code and clearing techniques can help. But it also may be that you're flitting around up here because it's too scary to be back down in here. And so we need to get you grounded. If it was springtime, I'd say go barefoot on the ground, walk in a redwood forest, feel the ground beneath your feet. Right now, I'd actually say, as crazy as it is, go pump some iron, get a little strength on your bones, and feel yourself connecting back in with your body. Then I would go to things like not just automatic writing, but I would go to journaling, straight journaling, and I would write down, this is the opposite of positive psychology or positive thought, I would write down all of the negative stuff that is being blocked right now, that you have not been able to get back up to the surface. I would get it out on paper, as horrific or challenging or painful as it is. I would get it up, I would get it out, I would do ceremony, I would shred it, I would dance around it, I would burn it. The more that you get these emotions out, the more you are going to come back into your physical body, the more your light is going to shine, and we are going to see your emotional body as well. It's a long process. Don't worry about that. Take baby steps in the direction, but start to get grounded today. The last thought I have on it is look at the foods that you're eating. Now, you may be eating very healthy, but I'd like you to get more grounding foods, more earth provisions, more of a potato, of a yam, of things that grow beneath the surface that help connect you and root you into the earth, rather than foods like sprouts and things that spin you up and take you away, because we need to ground you firmly back in your body.
So this question is related. It's from Denise on Facebook. She writes, top 3 suggestions on developing a self-compassion practice.
Ooh. Denise, you have hit a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. 3 techniques. A brief story. Self-compassion and self-love has been one has been. It isn't now. I still have a wiring issue with it. I'm working through it. It's been one of my maybe two biggest wiring challenges that I have had this lifetime. The other one being what I call the screw-up gene. I was gifted with an ability for self-loathing, self-despising, or my ego wanting to basically rip me apart if I didn't do good, whatever that means. I originally started into saying, I love myself, and like putting my hand over my heart and saying, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. Something that has been tremendously powerful for me. When I first did it many years ago, I was in my bathroom at a home I owned in Fort Collins, Colorado. It was around 2000, 2001, something like that. Maybe even 2002. And I looked in the mirror and I said, I love myself. And my ego was so angry with me. I joke and say I redecorated the bathroom. I shattered the bathroom mirror. I snapped the shower curtain. I ripped everything off of the walls. I tore myself apart because there was so much of a disparity between what I was saying and what I believed, and my ego went to town on me. I tried it a year later, and my poor microwave paid the ultimate price for it. It was such a gift from my dad. Although we don't use microwaves now, it was such a gift and it was so special. And I destroyed that in the kitchen along with the parquet or linoleum tile floor as well. It's something to step into gently. I would go first, before I even do I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. I would go to the Hawaiian healing prayer, which is Ho'oponopono, which is repeating many, many, many times to yourself, I love you, please forgive me, I am sorry, thank you. I love you, please forgive me, I am sorry, thank you. I love you, please forgive me, I am sorry, thank you. But that too may be too much for now. So if both of those are too strong, then do the 12-step program approach. Give it to a higher power. And that's what I've had to do. When my ego cuts in, and my ego, it cuts to the chase. And it says, and particularly said, you don't deserve to be here. You don't deserve to live, Michael. You're such a screw up. You don't deserve to be here. And in those moments, the best thing I can do, other than realize this too shall pass, is to say, God, Source, Spirit, Archangel Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, who is ever here and with me by my side, you take it. This is too much for me. I can't do this on my own. And give it to a higher power. Then, as your nervous system calms down, you can go to Ho'oponopono. You can go to I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, or I love you, I love you, I love you. And you can start to work on these things. I didn't want to make this entirely an automatic writing 101 session tonight, although these are great questions. You can also access that in your automatic writing. I find that's one of the biggest ways that my compassion has gone through the roof, and self-compassion is hearing that inner voice that does truly love me, absolutely positively, no matter what. Writing and being in that sacred space each morning helps me to get a more global view and to see who I am past my ego, past my small self, past the part of my brain that says, what have you done for me today, sucker? and instead get to that all-loving, totally compassionate, kind and caring place. And that's something I think Jessica would agree with. When we dive into that each morning, it makes it much easier to be kinder and gentler to yourself, no matter what happens, no matter what you do. Because truly, you came from love, you are love, and you couldn't be any less than love or loved, no matter how much you try. Love is your birthright, love is who you are, and love is where you came from and where you're going to return. Thank you so much. Truly a brilliant question.
Our next question comes from a YouTube viewer.
Mm-hmm.
Piera asks, or first she says, "Hi Michael, I've been struggling with my creative energy. I feel stuck and blocked. Any tips to become creatively ignited? Love your show. I'm a huge fan from Toronto."
Woohoo! Name one more time.
Piera.
Piera. Hi. First off, if it feels right, you can go out and look at other people's work. Go to museums. Go to whatever inspires you. Check things out there. I would also check in on the inside. Go quiet. Be with yourself. Take walks. Explore. I know it's really cold where you are now, but do what you can to get out and about and explore. And don't worry if the creativity isn't there at the moment. Creativity is a funny thing. When you try to push creativity, it runs away from you. When instead you go to a nice, quiet, receptive place, creativity comes and finds you. So it means it may be a time to go inward and ask, what do I need right now for me? What do I need for my soul? That doesn't mean you can't keep going down that road. If you're an artist, keep doing your art. If you're a writer, which is an artist, keep writing if it feels right. But everything has its time and place. Every season is here under the sun, 365. So there's spring, a time of rebirth, regrowth, energy. There's summertime, you're absolutely on fire. There's fall, you're winding down, you're starting to go inward. And there's winter, a time of incubation, of being in the cocoon and laying low. You may be in your winter right now, and rather than push it, learn from it. Dive in on the inside. Ask deep questions about yourself. Use this as a time for personal growth and development, not hard work. Do it kind, gentle, easy, good. Go to emotion code. Go to EFT tapping. Read some books. Don't read as many books as I read. Read a few books. Take action on little bits here and there, and be extra kind and loving and gentle to yourself. And that is going to light the fire more than anything else. Thanks, Piera. Beautiful question.
Great. Our next question is from Penny.
Mm-hmm.
She writes, "Hi Michael, I have been paralyzed with PTSD created by past betrayals by several people, as well as the death of my boyfriend. I'm left to rebuild a new life, and I can't seem to move forward."
And that's Penny?
Yes.
Hi, Penny. I felt a stabbing in my heart right before you spoke, and I was trying to check in and see where that was coming from, and now I may understand. First off, I am so sorry for you. I cannot express that enough. My heart goes out to you so much. That's lots of so's, but it does. I struggled with PTSD for between 7 and 8 years. I actually struggled with back pain during that same time, and they both went away together, although I don't think we fully healed my PTSD until, if I was honest, well after Jessica came along. Self-love, self-kindness, compassion, emotion code, tapping, massively EFT tapping. I would go to that like it is nobody else's business. In fact, that'd be the number one thing that I would recommend, is each morning get up, look for the most negative emotion that you feel or experiencing, go through, there are 8 different tapping points that I would use. Karate chop, bridge up between the eyes, just to the outside of the eyes, center just below the eyes, center just below the nose, center of your chin, inch apart from where your collarbones come together, and 3 inches below your armpits, what I call wings. I would look for the most negative expression you can find, rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, or 0 to 10. 0, there's no emotional response. 10, I'm on fire. I almost want to jump out the window or jump out of my skin. This is so painful. Find the thing that's the highest number out there, and then tap on it. And here's what I would do. I would say, I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm racked with guilt over something, something, something. Even though I'm completely freaked out of my mind because of something, something. Come up with the most negative expression you can, and then say it to yourself quietly in your mind's eye. As you tap on each point, you go through one at a time. So, I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm horribly saddened, but my boyfriend's passing away. I love myself completely and fully, even though, and repeat that in your mind at least 3, 4, 5 times until you feel ready to go to the next point. Repeat it in your mind's eye, and then to the next point, and repeat it at least 3, 4, 5 times. I like staying with it for a minute. Once you cycle through, see if there's another emotion or experience that came up. Come up with a new phrase and go after that. And then if a new one comes up, go after that. Or stick with one phrase until it goes from 7, 8, 9, 10 till you get it down to like a 2 or a 3. I would do up to 10 cycles of this each morning to pull away one layer of the onion, then the next layer, then the next layer, and the next layer. I would do it in the morning specifically. This is a tool you can use when the emotions come up. You can use it at moments of high anxiety, but it takes a lot of discipline to do it at those times. Can't recommend it enough. But in the morning, there may not be a trigger other than extreme sadness or depression. So it's the perfect time to start lifting that dark, heavy lead vest off of yourself to set you free for the day ahead. The last thought on this is we've got to get you going to the breath. In fact, somebody earlier was talking about not being fully in their body or having a very small energetic body presence right now. Go to the breath. The more you breathe deep, the more you breathe in through your nose, down and expanding your belly, and back up and out through the nose, the more grounded you will be, the more connected you will be, and the more you will go from a sympathetic fight or flight nervous system response to a parasympathetic rest and relax response. So I'd say go to the breath, go to the breath, and go to the breath. Thank you. I wish you so much love on your path. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. You will find that as long as you take baby steps forward. And what's most important above and beyond anything else at this time is, usually I would say to a coaching client, I give you permission. I do not give you permission to pick on yourself during this time. You have no right to pick on yourself. Not allowed. There is no judging yourself. Even if you act completely crazy, irresponsible, upset, whatever it is, don't judge yourself for getting upset. Allow it to be. In fact, like I was saying earlier, journal all the upsettedness, then have a ceremony, rip it up, shred it, burn it. But don't judge yourself for going through the range of human emotions. That's not only allowed, but that's necessary. In the West, we go nuts because we judge ourselves for judging ourselves for judging ourselves. If you're angry, great, you're angry. It's not who you are. It's an emotion. It's like saying, we've had somebody say on the show, it's like judging yourself for having poop come out of you. You're not the poop. It's just an emotion. Anger comes up, it's anger. Sadness comes up, it's anger. Sadness. Guilt comes up, it's guilt. And no matter what emotion you have, don't then get angry that you got angry, or get angry that you got angry that you got angry. I'm not giving you permission for that because it only leads to one logical conclusion, which is that you're not a good person. And you are a great person, and you really truly are the greatest person in the world. We all have that inside of us, and you will discover that over time. I send you all my love.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Hen Violet. She wrote this in earlier on Facebook. I had some unpleasant situations through life, so now I have difficulty being authentic. So I've lost contact with my true emotion. Most of the time I'm pretending and not showing the real me. Do you have advice for me? How can I be confident and willing to be vulnerable and live life truly?
Hi Violet, thank you so much for sharing. I go to emotion code on this one. either grab the book and learn how to do it yourself, and if you can learn how to do muscle testing, you can do it yourself, or find a practitioner. It's something I can work with you as well on, but it's something that you have emotional wounds and blocks that have to be released. Emotion code isn't the only technique, and there's access consciousness, and there's so many more, but get to one of these clearing techniques. It will make it much easier for you. It'll remove the heaviness. It will allow you to feel and experience again. But I would get there quickly, because not feeling isn't just that you're going through life numb. It's like you're stacking up emotion, one behind the next, behind the next. And so when you finally do the clearing, you've got to get rid of that whole... I'm picturing a highway where there's been an accident and they close the highway, and all the cars back up for mile after mile. The longer you're numb, the more you have to allow all those cars to come through later on. You deserve to live now. You deserve to be happy now. You deserve to have those cars flowing freely again, and to feel them moving freely without you feeling wounded. And so I would recommend starting into clearing work as soon as you possibly can. You will feel great for it. Now, with that said, all clearings tend to come with, this is the fine print again, an emotional or spiritual detox. It takes a brave person to go through clearing work, because it can knock you down pretty good. But if you're willing to go in there, if you're willing to face that, you will feel, no pun intended, so much better in the long run. Actually, in the not too distant long run, clearings make you feel better fast. Can't recommend it enough for you.
I think we have time for one more question.
All right. And then I'm gonna do a brief meditation at the end, something similar to last week, but I just feel it's important.
Okay. This question comes from Whitney on Facebook.
Hi, Whitney.
She writes, what are some good practices to adopt when you're having trouble not getting distracted or resisting getting work done at home when it's a passion and you're not necessarily accountable to a boss to get the work done?
So really the question is, how do I keep from getting distracted when I'm working at home for myself? Front-loading, Whitney, and setting yourself up for success, and setting some basic boundaries. Actually, more than that, basic boundaries and timers. That used to be a big issue with me in the past. Now I think I actually have the reverse, where I'll dive deep. But I'm a strong believer in front-loading and putting what you want to get done that's most important to you earliest in the day, and doing it before you check your email. Email, social media are all reactive tools. They're not proactive. You want your time to be proactive. So if you know I need an hour or two in the morning or a day to get my most important things, X, Y, and Z done, let's do them first. Then check the email, or then check social media before I'm pulled off by anyone or anything else. Make sure and get that done first. You can set timers for yourself. I used to use this app called Time Timer, and I think I called her Bessie the cow. And I would set Bessie to moo every 15 or 20 minutes, or even less, because we tend to be able to focus in short blocks until we build that focus muscle stronger. And I would say, until Bessie moos, I'm going to work on editing my book or whatever is the project. And so I work for 10 or 15 minutes and and then I set Bessie for 5 minutes and I watch 5 minutes of YouTube or a movie or who knows what. She moves again, I jump back in for another 15 or 20 minutes. And it's basically this approach that we've had on Harvard brain scientist and psychologist Dr. Srini Pillay. He calls it Tinker Dabble Doodle Try. That's the name of his book. Jump in for a very short, intense focus block, jump back out. Jump back in for a focus block, jump back out. Build boundaries. Build boundaries with your loved one. Build boundaries with yourself. I will check this after such and such. I will do this after so-and-so. The more that you build some routine into your day, the more you can let go of your worries and concerns and focus on the immediate task that you want to get done. Be kind and gentle to yourself. Start building more and more into your daily routine. The more structure that you have there, I know it's the dangerous S word or dreaded S word, but the more structure you build into your routine working for yourself, the more that you will begin to shine in the home environment. I remember when I first started working from home, I thought there was absolutely positively no way in the world that I'd be able to get stuff done. It has so completely changed, both for Jessica and myself, that we have the reverse challenge, which is how do we let go of doing the work at home, because we're going, I could be doing this now, I could be doing that, and realizing that we have to allow ourselves to have that time, that downtime, to play, to explore, to do anything and everything that's not work related or even our passion related as well. Great question, Whitney.
Do you have time for more questions?
Let's go with one more question, because I am on my get up early routine. It's really important for me. So, and that is my boundary.
Okay. Well, Vanna Rose had asked how we met, and I explained that already. Mm-hmm. But she also asked, do you think we are twin flames?
Yeah. Who knows? That's my intuitive hit is yes, absolutely. I knew at the moment that I saw her. She came along reluctantly, kicking and screaming. About 3 weeks later, I don't know.
He was persistent.
And you were conscripted.
Yeah, that too.
But I believe we all have many special someones out there. And that when we do the work, because there's an infinite number of lifetimes, but I do believe we've been together many, many, many lifetimes before. But I feel when you are ready, when you do a lot of the inner work, in my case, when I was just barely ready, that right person can come into your life. I always challenge people, though, rather than seeking the person on the outside, and that doesn't mean that you don't go and put yourself out there, but the more that you do the inner work and the more that you focus on the inner journey and getting your flame to burn incredibly bright, the more you attract into your life just the right person. I had been a hermit for years before I met Jessica. I had a engagement blow up on me very, very badly. And I went for years on the inside and worked on myself. And it was only maybe 2 months before I met Jessica that I said, I feel ready, I need to get back out there. And then, boom, she appeared. And like I said, I was just barely on the edge of being, having had worked on myself enough for Jessica to even consider me. She wanted to turn tail and run because I really needed so much more work. And thankfully, she hung in there for me. Beautiful question. That is a woohoo! All right, so what I would like to do from here, and I saw we had more questions on that, I guess we'll have to go into them next time, is last week we did kind of a meta-kindness meditation. I want to do something similar this week. I call it a meta-love meditation. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, maybe it was 5 now. I was, this is where I stutter. I'm getting to NDE number 2, abridged version, slipped, fell, rocks, me stuck in water, stopped breathing, went away, or started to go away. Everything was graying out on me. No tunnel, nothing like that, no pyrotechnics. Stopped breathing and basically had a choice to stay or to go. No booming voice or anything. And Jessica was just off by my side, and had to stay, had to come back. I had to force myself to start breathing. Breathing was no longer there for me. Breath was gone. Breath had left me. And I basically had to call breath back in. and consciously breathe for the next hour before emergency crews got there and could helicopter me out to stay alive. And I did a light and love meditation to consciously breathe that quite literally saved my life. And what I did is I focused on the brightest light that I could see, and it wasn't a light in the tunnel. It was this amazing white Lake Tahoe sunlight up in the mountains, and I focused on drawing in that light and then sending out love, drawing in light and sending out love. And what I'd like to do is a very short modified version of that right here for you right now, and may it help you feel better as well. It's just such a beautiful meditation. So with that said, let's have you sit up good and tall. I used to do a lot of slumping meditations. I believe now sitting up high helps you, and there's a time and a place for everything, but it helps you to kind of be that antenna and also be that beacon radiating your light out into the world. So sit up good and tall. If you are driving down the road, I don't know how you're listening or watching this if you are, but if you are, do this later. You can close your eyes, you can keep them squinty open. Probably wide eye isn't necessary. But what I'd like you to do is breathe in and out through the nose. So breathe in through the nose, down to the belly, back out through the nose. Breathe in, and out. And in through the nose, and out. And breathe in and imagine a ball of light, breathing that into your belly, and out. Breathe in a ball of light. In fact, you can feel it coming into your heart. And now send out love for your heart as you exhale. In light to the heart. And out love from the heart. Breathe in light to the heart. Send out love from the heart. In light, out love. Now breathe in light, and then as we go to send out love to everybody in your home. Send out love. Breathe in light again through the heart. Now send out love to everybody on your city block. Send out all the love you can. Breathe in light, nice and deep to the heart through the nose. Now send out love. You can be a bubble of love. Send out love to everybody in your town. Send out all the love in the world. Breathe in light. Send out love from the heart to everybody in your state. Send out all the love in the world. You can see this glowing white light encompassing your entire state. Breathe in a brilliant, brilliant light into your heart. Feel it coming in and glowing bright. And then send out all the love in the world you can to everybody in your entire country. All the love. Breathe in all the love and light in the world. See your heart glowing bright. And now send out all the love you can to everybody on your entire continent. Send out all the love, seeing your whole continent illuminated with love. Super deep breath in through the nose, taking all the light you can to your heart. Send out all the love you can to everybody on the entire planet. See the planet encapsulated in this glowing white light of love. Breathe in extra deep. Feel that light coming in, illuminating the heart, illuminating your whole body. And then send out all the love in the world you can to everywhere in the entire solar system. It's even surrounding the sun in a brilliant white light of love. Breathe in extra deep. Feel that light coming into your heart. And then send out all the love in the world you can to the entire Milky Way galaxy. You illuminate the entire galaxy in this white bubble of love. Breathe in incredibly deep. Feel the heart glowing bright. Your whole body is just illuminating light out, expanding from you, expanding throughout the entire galaxy and beyond as you send out love to the entire known universe. Breathe in even more light still. Feel it come in. Feel the light radiating out through your body and send out all the love in the world you can to this universe and every universe, everywhere, to everyone. Breathe in light. Send out all the love in the world. Breathe in light. Send out love. Breathe in light. Send out love. And breathe in light. Send out love. You are loved. You are loved. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I want to wish you the most beautiful evening ahead, week ahead, year ahead, everything ahead. Truly know you are loved. You come from love. You couldn't be anything less than complete and total love, no matter what you said, no matter what you did, no matter how you act, because it is your birthright and it is who you truly are. I send all the love in the world your way. Shine bright. Woohoo! I'll say one last shameless plug. Come on over to our Patreon campaign. If you like this, join us. We have a backstage pass. We give you your daily wow, your daily words of wisdom or inspiration. We are completely self-funded and funded by you, our audience, our fans. We have no commercial advertisers. So if you join the backstage pass program, $7 a month, you get access to daily wow. You get access to so many words of wisdom, additional meditations and videos, and Jessica and I doing a weekly wrap up together, and you become part of the Inspire Nation family. So come join the Inspire Nation family. It's Patreon, patreon.com/Inspire Nation, or simply come on over to inspirenationshow.com and click the green donate button. It helps keep us going. It helps us to be able to keep you going. We send you all the love in the world. We hope to see you here next week, and truly shine bright. Woohoo! And forgive me for looking awkward. I have no idea how to hit the stop button. Bye, everyone.